Part 3. Bringing your plan to life. Chapter 10. Assembling the building blocks to make your own plan. We've been on a journey to find out how you become one of the audacious few. You've heard countless stories and examples. The goal was to get you thinking about your own plan. Hopefully, you've made some notes. If, however, you're one of those people who likes to take everything in before you start writing, you're still in good shape. Now is the time to put everything together into one plan. Though I recommend that you write at least something in every block, it's more important that you make the business plan your own. Sometimes you need to learn the rules before you can break them. What will make your plan successful is that it feels like you. The key word now is distill. Less is more. Simplicity wins. You want to break down your business plan into the smallest parts possible. Ideally, it will fit on 3 pages, a cover page, and then all 12 building blocks on adjoining pages. That's about all your mind can take in. You may have some other items that will go along with the building blocks, like your calendar of events, in a separate place. I'm going to walk you through this process by first giving you the questions to ask. Then I'll show you an example. This will give you everything you need to fill in your own blocks. Questions and prompts to complete your business plan. The year of magic, scaling, growth, clarity, commitment. What's the one word that sums up your year? This plan is for me, my team, investors, all of the above. This plan is for the calendar/fiscal year, and it builds the foundation for a year run. Previous year review. Biggest takeaways from the previous year are: I allowed to consume my mind. I will replace these thoughts with I will completely eliminate. I will not allow to stop me. This year will be different because enemy. The enemies that produce the most emotion are. The specific enemy for this year for me is. The specific enemy for this year for my business is. When we crush this enemy, I am going to feel. We will celebrate by competition. Key direct competitors are. Key indirect competitors, alternative solutions, are. I'm not going to underestimate, as they are a real threat. I'm going to research my competition by finding a niche in markets. I will succeed because. I must succeed because. Tapping into my heart looks like. I never want to hear said about me. I want my reputation to be synonymous with skill. My 3 areas of focus are. I will read books on these topics. I will attend conferences and workshops. I will improve upon weaknesses by. I will make key hires in areas to address weaknesses. To hit next year's forecast, I need to add skill sets. I commit to personal and professional development in mission. The cause I am fighting for is. The injustice I'm correcting is. The crusade I'm leading is. What bothers me is. What I hate is. What I love is. If I won the lottery, I would commit my life to. My mission is. Because. Plan. I have completed a SWOT analysis. List 1 for each. Strength equals. Weakness equals. Opportunity equals. Threat equals. The key people I'm watching are. The key topics I'm watching are. My crisis plan is complete. I'm prepared for worst-case scenarios and have anticipated crises such as. My calendar for the year is complete, and I'm looking forward most to these 3 dates. Dreams. The dreams that get me most fired up are. My list of 5 to 7 imagine if one day. Statements and/or bucket list items are. Be specific and set deadlines and rewards for your dreams. I have made my dreams visual by. I declare my dream as a future truth and will live in the present as if it has already become a reality. Systems. I automate my life and business by, which allows me to buy back time and duplicate myself. The three most important formulas in my business are: my 3 specific strategies to drive consistent revenue this year are: I have put systems in place to gather, analyze, and implement data. These are: culture. Our company culture is defined by. To actively create this culture, I sell it to customers, employees, and partners by. The rituals and traditions that align with our culture are. Our benefits package can best be described as team. I have evaluated key people on the team from 0 to 60 using the Running Mate scorecard. My most trustworthy employees are. I keep people accountable by. I will find rock stars for roles in and happily pay them well above market rate. Vision. The impact I will make on my customers and or on the world is. My key principles and values are. My non-negotiables are. I will create a monumental event to create my company's vision, values, and principles. On, date, in, location. Capital. My key personal differentiators are. My key business differentiators are. My elevator pitch is. I have a crisp pitch deck with a compelling narrative presentation. I use this when recruiting talent, building partnerships with suppliers and vendors, and raising money. Questions and prompts to complete your business plan. Solopreneur example. This business plan is written by a solopreneur. Notice how this business plan incorporates both his personal and professional life. I encourage you to mix the two or to even make one just for your personal life, if that's what you need. Every business plan is going to be different. Again, the most important thing is to make it your own. The year of magic. This plan is for me, all the people I work with, my team. This plan is for 2024 and it builds the foundation for a 10-year run. Previous year review. Biggest takeaways from previous year: focus is key, discipline breeds freedom. I allowed projects I wasn't passionate about to consume my mind. I will replace these thoughts with projects that light me up and make an impact on others. I will not allow fear to stop me. This year will be different because I am committed. I know how terrible I'll feel if I don't keep my promises and how amazing my life will be if I do. Enemy. The enemies who produce the most emotion are the ones who are in the same field and beating me because they are working smarter than I am. The specific enemy for this year is inconsistency. The specific enemy for this year for my business is industry leaders who surpassed us in revenue last year. When I crush this enemy, I am going to build a state-of-the-art home fitness center. I will prove them wrong by being my best self. Competition. Key competitors are other influencers targeting the same problems. Indirect competitors are apps and DIY solutions. I'm not going to underestimate the impact of AI and how it can commoditize information. I will succeed because I'm talented, generous, and deliver value for people. I must succeed because time is running out. I'm not getting any younger. Tapping into my heart shows me that I want to make a big impact on the world. I never want to hear he has untapped potential said about me. I want my reputation to be synonymous with coaching, wisdom, and keeping promises. Skill. My 3 areas of focus are fulfillment, marketing, and relationships. I will read 8 books on these topics. I will attend 3 conferences and workshops. I will improve upon acting small by being bold. I will make a key hire, a marketing firm, to address my weakness in outreach. To hit next year's forecast, I need to add AI, writing, and marketing skill sets. I commit to personal and professional development in marketing, AI, and online training. Mission. The cause I am fighting for is living a fulfilled life, and showing others how to do the same. The injustice I'm correcting is marketers succeeding at controlling people so that they make poor decisions. The crusade I'm leading is being fulfilled. What bothers me is seeing others unhappy. What I hate is knowing what to do and not doing it. What I love is seeing the light go on for people and watching their lives improve. If I won the lottery, I would commit my life to guiding people to lead a fulfilled life. My mission is to educate and empower because I care about people and have the experience and skill to make an impact. Plan. I have completed a SWOT analysis. Strength equals caring. Weakness equals marketing. Opportunity equals new book. Threat equals discipline. The key people I'm watching are James Clear, Andrew Huberman, and Joe Rogan. The key topics I'm watching are influencer marketing and work-life balance trends. My crisis plan is complete. I'm prepared for worst-case scenarios and have anticipated crises such as hyperinflation, supply chain issues, and escalating marketing costs. My calendar for the year is complete, and I'm looking forward most to these 3 dates: book publication, podcast launch, and a trip to Italy. Dreams. The dreams that get me most fired up are having an incredible partnership and impacting tens of millions of lives. Imagine if one day, I have a home that feels like paradise and is also a retreat center. I host Saturday Night Live. I have a primetime talk show. I have made my dreams visual by creating a vision board. I declare my dream as a future truth and will live in the present as if it has already become a reality. Systems. I automate my life and business by being hyper-organized, paying myself first with investments, and hiring a personal trainer, which will allow me to buy back time and duplicate myself. The 3 most important formulas in my business are writing 1,000 words a day, posting 3 articles per week, and investing 3 hours per week in public service. My 3 specific strategies to drive revenue this year are consistently writing a blog, building social media, and meeting all deadlines. I have put systems in place to gather, analyze, and implement data. These are: outsourced to a marketing firm. Culture. My culture is defined by holistic health and the idea that everything matters. To actively create this culture, I have a consistent routine and constantly seek out magic. I sell it to customers, employees, and partners by embodying it. The rituals and traditions that align with my culture are self-care, music, and bringing people together. Our benefits package can best be described as, your life gets better because of my presence. Team. I keep people accountable by speaking kindly, directly, and authentically. I hold people to the goals and standards that we have mutually agreed upon. I will find rock stars for roles in marketing and editing and happily pay them well above market rate. Vision. The impact I will make on my customers and/or on the world is guiding people to make decisions that create fulfillment. My key principles and values are kindness, gratitude, love, and appreciation. My non-negotiables are violence, walking on eggshells, and being inauthentic. I will create a monumental event to create my company's vision, values, and principles. On July 10th in Sedona. Capital. My key personal differentiators are walking in other people's shoes and having unique experiences. My key business differentiators are personal touches. My elevator pitch is that I show people how to make better decisions to live a fulfilling life. I have crisp descriptions of my website and marketing materials. Now that you've seen an example, let's review strategies for how to best tackle your own plan. Ways to make a business plan effective. 1. Make time with your team and with your family to create the plan. 2. Know who you are writing it for, personal, your team, investors. 3. Make it emotional so it fires up you and your team. 4. Share it strategically, employ the right strategy to roll it out. 5. Build KPIs and incentives into your strategy and track religiously. 6. Make it simple enough for you to look at it weekly and not get bogged down. 7. Identify issues in advance and have built-in contingency plans and pivots. 8. Review it at the end of every quarter to study trends and recalibrate. It's your plan. The building blocks are there to provide guidance and structure. I'd rather see you write shorter, more impactful statements and plans than try to fill up space. We all have different goals and different agendas. Remember, there are no wrong answers. Keep it simple and find that balance of dreaming big while choosing goals that you can attain. Also remember that when you decide on the rewards in advance, you put yourself in the emotional state that will be required to overcome adversity. Chapter 11. Rolling out the plan. The final test of a leader is that he leaves behind him in other men the conviction and the will to carry on. Walter Lippmann, American writer, reporter, and political commentator. You did it. Only the audacious few make it this far to assemble all 12 building blocks. You have a business plan. Because you've done what so few are willing to do, you are one step closer to building a multi-generational business. Right now, you are probably excited. You are also probably alone. Writing a business plan, at least the first draft, is generally a solo endeavor. Running a business is not. That's the good news. Even more good news is that I'm going to show you how to put all that hard work to its best use. You have the right blend of emotion and logic to make this your best year ever, as well as to make this the best year ever for those around you. Now you need a strategy to roll out the business plan to everyone who matters. No matter where you are in your entrepreneurial or life journey, it's necessary and valuable to go through all the building blocks. The next steps will be different for everyone. Let's say you're a student who wants to drop out of school and start a business. The most important people to enroll are your parents, maybe for the simple fact that they're your best shot at free room and board. If you run a big business, you have to enroll everyone, from investors to vendors to partners. If you're a sales leader, you have to enroll your team for sure, and you also need to enroll your boss, the one who allocates resources. Show him or her an incredible plan, and a big chunk of the marketing budget could find its way to you. Your goal is to take everything you've written in the 12 building blocks and turn it into a presentation. You're not telling people about your plan. You are enrolling them in your plan. I chose that word intentionally. Enlist sounds too militant. Telling is too dull. Enroll means you are inviting them to buy in. When you have both emotion and logic covered, you don't have to sell. You simply have to share authentically to get people enrolled. Steps once building blocks are assembled. Here are your next 9 moves. 1. Share it with one trusted person, ideally outside your organization, to get feedback. 2. Edit and polish the plan. Rehearse it out loud until you have it down cold. 3. Set up meetings with key stakeholders. Choose the locations wisely. Outside the office is typically best, even better if it ties into your theme for the year. 4. Deliver a well-rehearsed presentation that balances logic and emotion. First, tell them why. Then show them how. 5. Set key performance indicators and short and long-term goals. 6. Agree on bonuses, prizes, and incentives for hitting goals. 7. Calendar out the entire year for everyone. Assign responsibilities. 8. Make the plan visual, laminate it, create signs and t-shirts, etc. 9. Create regular intervals to gauge progress and course correct. Does that sound like a lot of work? Of course it does. Imagine spending days writing out the most detailed meal recipes for the week ahead. Would the work stop there? Or would it really start then? It's one thing to have the recipe. You still have to procure the ingredients, have the right equipment for your kitchen, and cook the food. And then you have to do it all over again the next week. Or, for another metaphor, you've done the personal work to create this uncarved block of granite. Now you have to turn into a sculptor to refine it and bring it to life. You can't wing the rollout. You need time to let it sink in and make sure you are bought in before others will follow. The more the merrier, and more fulfilled and bought in. Before we get into the details of the rollout, I want to tell a story that was relayed by a friend who went to Yale. In the first semester of his freshman year, he took a management course. As you would expect at an Ivy League university, the teacher spoke to the students as if they were going to become high-level managers. She asked what they, when they started in their careers, would value from their employer. At the top of the list were autonomy, upward mobility, and growth. Then she asked what regular employees valued. At the top of that list were pay, benefits, and perks like days off. According to my friend, the Yale professor did a great job of getting the students to reflect. Why do you think what you care about is different from others? She asked. She shared statistics about how people at all levels of an organization value the same things. What she didn't say, but implied, is how these elitist 18-year-olds had so badly misjudged what all people care about. My friend may have walked into that room uninformed, but he walked out with the important lesson that people generally want the same things. I bring this up because you may be wondering if everyone in your organization needs to create their own plan. The answer is that everyone should have the opportunity to do one. Don't you want to be part of a company, ideally leading it, in which every person takes the time to plan their success and gains clarity about what they want in life? I certainly do. And I can tell you that the more people who create a business plan, the better an organization becomes. The very reason I wrote this book is for everyone to have the formula to write a business plan. Remember that most people don't have a vision and can't delay gratification. It's no accident that those things go hand in hand. Show people how to create a vision, and their discipline will improve. Is this effective for the custodian or receptionist? Ask it another way, who wouldn't this be effective for? Can you imagine asking your receptionist or intern, who do you want to be and what will your life look like in 5 years? There's a good chance that they'll tell you that no one has ever asked those questions before. Show that you care and guide them to answering those questions, and you may discover entirely different people. Their commitment to excellence will change, and not only will performance improve, but they may turn into true believers and flag carriers for your company. You can bet they'll tell their family and friends that you were the first person who took an interest in their future. I asked one of our junior marketing people these questions. I had to probe a bit, and as you may have guessed, I asked him if he had any enemies or if there was anyone who doubted him. Then I asked, do you want to live a chill life, or do you want to make more money and advance in your career? He said he just wanted to live a chill life. The next day, he came to my office and said he'd barely slept. He couldn't stop thinking about my questions. He remembered how his uncle would always say he was never going to amount to anything, and though his parents didn't pile on, they didn't defend him either. When it occurred to him that the chill life would mean proving his uncle right, his perspective changed. That led us right into the building blocks, where we quickly identified the skills he needed to add to get to the next level. I asked, "What do you need to do to make that a reality? What hard skills do you need? What about human skills?" All I did was ask the questions. His reflection and answers created the paradigm shift. Based on what I've seen over the past 6 months, I wouldn't be surprised if he's running the marketing department before he turns 30. If you think 12 building blocks are too much for some people, I've created a condensed version of the plan that may be more appropriate. It's called the One-Page Business Plan, and you can find it in Appendix B. You can also download a PDF and watch a video, How to Write a One-Page Business Plan, by going to chooseyourenemieswisely.com. I'm only bringing it up now because I wanted to lead you, the audacious few, through all 12 building blocks. It may be handy for some of your employees, your interns, or even your kids. If, at any point, you sense someone is feeling overwhelmed, ask them to fill out the one-page business plan instead. I can't say enough times that it's impossible to be a great leader without knowing someone's building blocks. I've been told by my peers that I'm great at pushing buttons. Well, how do you think I know which buttons to push? I ask people what their vision is, who their enemies are, and what people they are working for. I don't manage people to my dreams and goals. I manage people to their dreams and goals, the ones they have taken the time to write down in their business plan. Without gathering this data and taking inventory of a person's building blocks, you can't lead effectively. Showing others how to write their plan. As I said, the more people completing a business plan, the better it is for your organization. What you don't want is to assign a business plan without showing people how to do it. That will make everyone frustrated and it will feel like a waste of time. It doesn't necessarily mean you are the person who has to lead the training. If, for example, you have a great HR director, he or she might be the person for the job. Since some people may be uncomfortable sharing with the CEO, it's best to have someone who people trust and will let down their guard with. You may have each department head lead it for their direct reports. If that's the case, you'll be leading it for your department heads. The other key to this is to have examples, and not necessarily your own. People tend to struggle with blank building blocks. That doesn't mean make it multiple choice. What it does mean is that you want to give them prompts and examples, ideally from people they can relate to. When it comes to vision, if you say things like take over the world or disrupt an industry, they're not going to know what to write in their own plan. Better to give examples like I need to take a Udemy course on web design, learn conversational Italian, and save $15,000 as a down payment on a house. I mentioned Bob Kurtner earlier. Not only was he the president of LIMRA and a member of my board, he was also the executive vice president for Hartford Life for 30 years. He taught me a lot about business plans. He understood how intimidating a blank page can be. That's why he created specific questions to guide people to their own answers when they were creating business plans. Kurtner said, "Salespeople are great at filling in numbers. I created a format that set them up for success. The numbers led them to their own Conclusions on what activities they need to do. Ask the questions. How much do you want to make next year? How much did you want to make last year? What do you have to do differently? My format took them through what to do. By removing friction from the process, you get them to see for themselves what they want to do and what they need to do. In a perfect world, you get as many people as you can to create a plan for the year. This includes your kids, your close family members, your personal assistant, and your vendors. In fact, supporting others in this process is a great way to make them feel better and gain goodwill as a relative, friend, and colleague. Timing and sequencing. One thing I obsess over is getting the sequencing of events in the right order. When you present your plan is critical. One route is to work with everyone to complete their own plan and then bring them together to share. In that meeting, you present your plan, the company's master plan, to everyone. Based on what you present, people on your team will likely be adding to their plan. If, for example, part of your vision is expanding to South America, someone on your team might take the lead on that, which will change their plan. Assuming this is for the end of the year, the timing may look like this. October 1st, announce location and date for business planning event in December. Announce date and time of business plan training in November. Make clear that completing the plan is a prerequisite for attendance. November 15th, 2-hour Zoom training on how to complete the plan. November 22nd and 29, optional office hours to answer questions about the plan. December 6th, Zoom call from CEO about the importance of the plan. This is especially important if the CEO is not the person leading the training. December 15th and 16, in-person workshop. 1 day is good. 2 days are better. Off-site is good. Far away from the home office is better. December 29th, deadline for visuals and to-dos from workshop. The following year. March 29th/June 29th/September 29, Zoom for accountability calls and quarterly course corrects. Think about what type of business plans you've created and received in the past when you've gone through the motions or haven't provided directions on how to write the plan. Before I started teaching the 12 building blocks, most people showed up with a few bullet points on half a page. Now imagine putting that schedule together. No one would dare show up at your workshop without a detailed plan. First, they've been taught how to do it, and second, because of the office hours, you've eliminated the number one excuse, I didn't know what to say. Plus, when your team sees how thorough you have been, they will follow your lead. Can you imagine following that schedule I just presented and not having the most killer plans that create the most killer year? You have to make the timing your own. I'm providing this as an example of how precise and detailed it needs to be. If the most important part of your plan is raising money, the calendar is going to look a lot different. It might take months to make the key hire who will allow you to start working on a presentation and reaching out to investors. The keys are: 1. Sequencing. 2. Precision. 3. Commitment. 4. Leading from the front, i.e., you set the tone. Selling the plan. Where you deliver the plan makes a big difference. What will create the most excitement? Sometimes you need to get away with your team. I've rented mansions in Palm Springs, California, and Whitefish, Montana, a ski chalet in Aspen, Colorado, and the Ahaka Castle on Long Island, New York. When the meeting is finished, it's important to follow up on the items in a timely manner after rolling out the plan. deliverables and next steps are crucial. Why are all the details so important? People need to see that it matters to you. They will rise to your level of dedication and the importance you place on the plan. Remember that you want to enroll, not enlist. You want to sound welcoming and inspiring. You want people to feel the energy pouring out of you. You need to sell the dream and explain the cause, all while keeping it simple. Every salesperson knows that during a presentation, all the prospect wants to know is what's in it for me. The bad reps get bogged down in details or their own goals. The effective ones keep bringing it back to the prospect's needs and desires. When you're selling your dream to your employees, you're selling what it looks like for them. You'll use those 4 magical words over and over. Imagine if one day, what rewards will be theirs if you succeed. Show the impact on their money, career, history, legacy, and family. Describe what it will feel like when they meet a new, better version of themselves. Keep that balance of emotion and logic. The building blocks were designed so this would flow naturally and all bases would be covered. You have to move people with emotion. At the same time, unless you provide logic, they are going to question how you will execute. Once momentum is created, you have a living business plan that will drive everyone around you. Decide on the rewards together. As a leader, there is always a delicate balance of gathering input and making your own decisions. For example, when it comes to creating a work from home policy, that has to come from you. Sure, you may solicit opinions independently and consult with people, but this is not the type of thing you want to bring to a vote. One area where I like to gather input is rewards. When you set your BHAGs, ask your team what they would like when they hit them. For one thing, it creates the emotion of actually hitting the goal. You can imagine someone on your team, maybe your top sales rep, saying something like, "When we crush our goal, we're all getting custom-made suits, Rolexes or Gucci purses, and flying to Jamaica together for a beach party with Ziggy Marley." Then all you have to say is that all you need to crush that goal? I can't hear everybody. You'll hear a big roar, and you know everyone has bought in. If you don't get that roar, you go back to the drawing board. I find these are the best types of negotiations. You're pushing back some, but you're also smiling and challenging. As a leader, you may say something like, "You really think you can do 55 million in revenue this year, John? And you really want that McLaren? How about 65 million and we'll do his and her McLarens for you and your better half." You're getting your people to dream. You're putting them in a place to visualize success. Of course you don't promise 2 McLarens if you can't afford them, but unless you're in a business where margins are razor thin, you'd love nothing better than to see a couple on your team do $65 million a year in revenue. It's also a great place for challenges. When people declare their goals and others doubt them, it's the perfect time to tell them to put their money where their mouth is. They start making bets, and you get to play whatever role you want. If Team A beats Team B, I'll buy 3 pairs of Louboutins or Ferragamos for everyone, and the losing team has to shine them. In terms of the rollout, if your team is fired up, don't assume they are going to stay fired up and on task. Leadership and commitment to the plan has to be consistent. A minimum of once a week, you need to be selling these building blocks, reminding your team that with the blocks, they can achieve the goals they've laid out and hit those rewards. You don't enroll people once and assume they're on board. It's constant That's why you create visuals. Laminate them, and make t-shirts with your word of the year. If your nature isn't to be a visionary, you won't wake up one day and think vision. That's why you put your vision in front of you and your team, and reward them as they strive toward it. Holding people accountable. Language matters. Just as you speak the dream language and use phrases like imagine one day if, you also need a language of accountability. The right language gets the right results. Where are you at? What's the status? Are you ahead of the deadline? There's no magic in those particular phrases. It's the fact that you are asking the question. Who holds you accountable? How? How often? Who do you hold accountable? How? How often? As part of your plan, you need to create accountability partners and checks and balances. Start by taking stock of how well you do this now. Are you good at holding people accountable? Why or why not? If you're not, the most common reasons are that you don't have the tools to manage conflict and or you always want to be liked. In order to hold people accountable, you need to fix both of these leaks immediately, but both are necessary. You are welcome to copy a phrase that I use a lot, which is you may hate me now, but you'll love me 20 years from now. Rate how well you do the following, from 1 to 5. Build relationships. Inspect what you expect. Give deadlines and hold people accountable. Develop mindsets. Lead from the front. Instill a competitive environment. It starts and ends with the leader. Business plans and startup businesses have much in common. People get caught up in the details, the presentation, and the technology, but what matters most is the people. Harvard Business School published a working paper called How Do Venture Capitalists Make Decisions? Here's a snippet from the abstract. We surveyed 885 institutional venture capitalists, VCS, at 681 firms. In selecting investments, VCS see the management team as more important than business-related characteristics such as product or technology. They also attribute more of the likelihood of ultimate investment success or failure to the team than to the business. It's great that Shark Tank has brought entrepreneurship and valuation to the masses, though I think too many people make the mistake of believing that having a unique product or a patent is what matters most. It's not. What matters most is the leader. I don't invest in companies. I invest in leaders. I don't get excited about ideas. I get excited about entrepreneurs. I don't put my faith in technology. I put it in a CEO. Just as a company will put a lot of effort into R&D to develop a product, for a business plan, we put a lot of effort into creating these building blocks. All 12 are important. But what matters most is you. For your plan, you've figured out what makes you tick. You've learned how to buy back time and become more efficient. You've identified threats and leaks so that you can be your best. It's comprehensive because the only way for you to succeed is to be at your best in terms of attitude, skills, organization, and energy. How do you make this the plan that accelerates your business and takes you to an entirely new level? It's not one thing. It's 12 things. It's taking the time to look ahead in your life, to visualize both success and regret. You have to dream and tap into your imagination by constantly saying, imagine one day if, and then create the habits to make it a reality, all the while inspired by the visuals that are constantly in front of your eyes. Knowing whose ass you want to kick will keep the fire in your belly. When you follow through on your own promises, you gain a new level of confidence. Others will see you differently because you carry yourself differently. It comes from an internal belief that you are living up to your own word. A question I ask other leaders all the time is, can I cash your word? If they don't get it, I'll ask the question another way. When you say something, is it money in the bank, or will that check bounce? If people can cash your word, your credibility score goes through the roof. Your credibility score is like your credit score, it's a running record of every commitment you have made over the years. When that score goes up, you start believing in yourself. Confidence grows. Wins pile on top of wins. And what happens to all those people who you stop trying to change, who you stop telling what to do? Monkey see, monkey do. By honoring your word to yourself and keeping your commitments, you showed them the formula. By delivering on the promises that you made to yourself and others, you demonstrated what it takes. That's leadership. That's what changes you and changes families. Now that you know how prepared you are, I want you to shift your attention to getting the best out of others. For you to have your best year ever, a majority of those around you need to as well. The key to leading them is first to coach them on completing their business plan. Don't do it for them. Ask the questions and provide the guidance so they dig deep and do it themselves. It will make your job as a leader so much more effective. It's impossible not to be reminded of what's important when you complete all the blocks. It also helps to have a leader to keep you accountable. When Jack Welch was working at General Electric as a junior chemical engineer, he wanted to quit. What stopped him from leaving was a mentor who talked him into staying. 20 years later, Welch became the company's youngest chairman and CEO. Love him or hate him, during his reign as CEO, the company ultimately increased its market value from $12 billion in 1981 to $410 billion when he retired in 2001. What does Welch's story have in common with most? In just about every case, there was a leader in that person's life. Someone who believed in him or her. Maybe it was a coach, a manager, or a relative. Nothing lifts others up more than a leader who keeps his or her word. And that is why the leader is the #1 indicator of business success. As thorough as any plan is, no one can manage themselves, including you. People are human. They are going to have bad days. They're going to get off track. You have to be there to keep them focused. You must continually remind them of what's important to them. Depending on the person, you may remind them of their enemies or haters. Some people respond more to avoiding fear while others respond to achieving their goals. Knowing which is the sixth sense of any great leader. Conclusion. Foo and bet against me. Bet against me. Tell me it's not going to happen. Tell me it's going to fail. I love it. I love every minute of it. Dana White, president of the UFC. On March 18, 2012, on 60 Minutes, Scott Pelley interviewed Elon Musk about space exploration. Musk was 41 at the time and had a net worth of about $2 billion. There were few believers in Tesla, which had a market cap of $3.6 billion, and there were plenty of doubters about Musk himself. Many claimed he got lucky when he made $180 million selling his share in PayPal to eBay as part of a $1.5 billion acquisition. During the interview, the energy was intense, as Pelley looked at Musk and said, "You know there are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan both testified against commercial spaceflight. And the way that you're developing it. And I wonder what you think of that. Put most CEOs on 60 Minutes and they look like robots. They have been trained to be unemotional and keep an even keel. But with Musk, you could immediately see the tears welling up. You could also see that he wasn't trying to hold them back. He responded, "I was very sad to see that. Because those guys, yeah, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough." Pelly kept poking at this emotional wound. He asked, "They inspired you to do this, didn't they?" "Yes. And to see them casting stones in your direction. It's difficult." At that point, Musk is really showing his disappointment. Did you expect them to cheer you on? Certainly hoping they would. What are you trying to prove to them? What I'm trying to do is make a significant difference in spaceflight. And make spaceflight accessible to almost anyone. I still get chills watching this interview. Now imagine if someone was interviewing you, asking you about your heroes, your heartbreaks, and your dreams. Would you get emotional? If so, what then would you do with that emotion? Even if you were moved emotionally, would you have a plan to channel that emotion? In the decade following that interview, Tesla went from a $3.6 billion company to the second fastest company to eclipse a $1 trillion valuation. It took them 12 years, Facebook took 9. Meanwhile, in 2018, SpaceX's Falcon Heavy carried a Tesla Roadster into orbit around the Sun. As the first company to send a privately funded liquid propellant rocket into orbit and land 3 boosters back on Earth. Then, in 2019, SpaceX became the first private company to autonomously dock in the International Space Station. Depending on what's happening in the stock market, Musk is often the richest person in the world. We're talking about Musk because he realized his vision and his audacious goals. It would be wise to ask, what were the keys to his success? Was it because he could identify his competition or because he had enemies, internal and external, that we didn't know about? Was it because of his relentless pursuit of adding skills or his will to succeed? Was it because he had a brilliant strategic plan or a compelling mission? Was it because he created systems to scale companies or because his dreams were so captivating? Was it because he assembled the right team or because he built the right culture? Was it because he raised so much capital or because he knew how to get others to buy into his vision? It's tempting to want to choose a side. It's natural to think in terms of either/or, emotion or logic. But we know better than to pick a side. Hopefully you spotted all 12 building blocks in the preceding questions and quickly understood that it took all 12 for Musk to succeed. One question that's worth asking is, what came first for Musk? Did he have a logical plan to get to space and then use emotion to fuel him? Or did his desire start during childhood, when he was reading A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy while dealing with the emotional wounds of an abusive father? When Musk received $180 million from the sale of PayPal, he had choices to make. Before he decided where to put his money, he had to know his vision and his plan. He could have chosen to kick back and celebrate his success, perhaps by sailing around the world or lounging on an island. Relaxing clearly wasn't going to satisfy his deepest why, which explains why he invested all of his money in 3 companies, $100 million in SpaceX, $70 million in Tesla, and $10 million in Solar City. Did his heart follow his money or did his money follow his heart? If I had to choose only one reason why Musk became so successful, He chose his enemies wisely and he keeps finding new enemies. You build a great car, 800 horsepower, incredible chassis. 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. But that alone won't get the car to move. You need something else to actually drive it. You need gas. You need fuel. Recruit your enemy and you'll find that fuel. Nothing else can produce that type of emotion. This is why you must choose your enemies wisely. I've said over and over that a business plan first has to move you. Without being moved, without getting emotional, you won't follow through. The emotional current that lives inside you is a constant reminder of why you are working so hard. By knowing how to ask questions that tap into your deepest desires, just as Pelly did for Musk, your plan takes on an entirely new meaning. I also believe that emotion alone isn't enough. Musk, like all of us, needed a logical plan that precisely detailed how to channel that emotion. Emotion is the why. Logic is the how. It leads you to specific actions that are required to start a business, scale a business, and put all the pieces together to design your dream life. If you take the time to write the plan and if you are committed to executing, you can change the course of your legacy. By completing all 12 building blocks, you have passed the test. You are prepared to have your best year ever. Your best year brings you one step closer to your best life. Entrepreneurship can be the answer for those seeking a better life. But it's hard. There are challenges at every turn, and none greater than at the beginning. Dreamers need guidance. Entrepreneurs need tools. Business leaders need a plan that is accessible and actionable. When I went looking for the guidance and advice needed to write a business plan, it didn't exist. That's why you have this book in your hands. Once and for all, you have a complete guide to walk you through how to make your business plan succeed. My why is impact. My why is hope. My why is using business to solve the world's biggest problems. It all started for me 21 years ago when I chose the right enemy. If you're ready to build a multi-generational business, there's only one thing left to do: choose your enemies wisely.